there's going to be a lot of horsepower in this league. The team to beat right now on paper is going to be the team of Alshire, Ratchin, Ricky Ward, and David Stouffer. What are your thoughts on that team?
Well, I think that's not only a team to beat in this league, that team could lead the nation in a four-man team series. There's no doubt in my mind if they start striking and they get loose on a certain pair and their moves work early and they understand the pattern, 3,100 is not out of the realm of possibility, which is 700 over for 12 games, which is a high 250 average. I believe that team there could lead the nation.
Mike Alshire, thoughts?
Mike Alshire to lead the league, lead in a high average, possibly 300 games, possibly 800 series. He's a monster all around, but on a house shot like this, where the lanes are going to be very consistent week to week because of our new flex machine and the pattern we've chosen, he's a monster. He is a strike machine. And I think everybody's, even Ricky Ward and Dave Stouffer, are saying the same thing. They feel he can lead the league, which is really unique because David Stouffer thinks he can beat anybody in the world, and he can. But I think he might have a conceded high average to Alshire. We'll find out. And with Rakowski, who is obviously a 240 caliber player on this pattern, it could be exciting.
The Miami strike machine in Port Charlotte, Mike Alshire. What's your
Mike
thought
Alshire.
of Lee Ratchin out of that team?
Lee Ratchin, probably underrated with the names we've mentioned, but all these bowlers should be well into the 230s. I think 240 is conceivable, considering that Alshire led the nation with a 255 average 3 years ago. I think mentally he's in tune to do this again. You know, once you've led the nation once, you believe you can do it again. That's why we're sort of giving him the number one spot.
Yeah, Lee Ratchin's one of my favorite bowlers. I've known 20, 25 years.
Ice water Lee, nothing phases him. He's very sedate on the lanes, very into his game, very confident, and a veteran.
Yeah, he's a grinder.
Oh yeah, he's a grinder.
Bowls anything, anywhere. Gets
Anything,
anybody.
anywhere, and ready to roll. There's nothing phases him.
Well, David Stouffer, who finished top 10 in the Masters this year, right?
Well, David, you know, David's emotional, probably the most emotional, high-scoring player in the league. When David starts striking, when David is geared right, anything is possible. 900 is possible with David Stouffer. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
900?
You know, they wouldn't.
That's $5,000.
I know. He's that good that if he starts striking, especially that last game, you know, they're gonna give him some leeway side to side too. He's gonna be up there alone. If he starts with the first 24, the next game they're gonna give him some lane courtesy he's probably hadn't seen in a while, because they're gonna want him to do it. It's exciting for us because we know it's possible. I mean, 900 is a tough prediction. There's only been, you know, like 34, 35 of them in the history of bowling. But in my case, I had a chance to bowl against Ed Glenn Allison, and even though they didn't sanction his, he had the first one. And Jeremy Sonnenfeld, who had the first sanctioned 900, I had a chance to meet and watch at the Lilac Challenge in 2000 in Rochester. So I believe the skill level in this league could have a shot at that.
Absolutely, so exciting. About the Bulldog coming out of retirement.
Well, I think we're all excited for Ricky. He hasn't bowled much in 7 years. He's 51 years old. He needs to get sharp, needs to practice a little. But if he gets loose on this shot here, 240 for a season's feasible.
Well, how many hundreds is a Bulldog gonna have?
I'm gonna give him 4 to 5 800s.
Woo, 4 to 5 800.
4 to 5 800s.
Wow.
Well, the left side's not going to change. If he gets on a pair of lanes where he's the only lefty and he gets locked in, and he gets out of the box 260, 260, he's going to be looking at 300 in third game. So I don't think a man with his skill level fears scores. You got to remember, he's a thoroughbred, and he proved himself long ago. So to come and bowl this league, I'm sure he's going to be motivated because there's a lot of action going on. He's going to be out there to win some money.
It's pretty exciting to get the best bowler ever to come out of our area to bowl this league.
Well, I'm honored and privileged to be able to say that. I watched him as a young man. I watched him went on the tour. I was the player service director of the PBA Tour, from his career from 92 to 96, and of course I watched on TV after that. But I watched him in the early years, and over the age of 50, things change. It's all about his right knee. If his right knee holds up, He doesn't have any approach issues, and he's a factor health-wise where he can stay sharp health-wise. Anything could happen with him.
He's always been my favorite lefty bowler on tour of all time.
Oh yeah, a lot of people love his game. He's still got it. He's still got a great stroke.
He looked good practice.
You know, he's heavier, obviously. He's over the age of 50, but that's not going to stop him. The only thing that's going to stop him is the right leg. If the right leg goes out on him, he might have an issue. But if the right knee is strong for the year, he'll be a factor every night.
And then a comment was made by Scott Cobb that the over/under for Ricky Shoot 300 is a big 0.
Well, I'm taking the over, and I'd like to get some odds on 4 300s.
4?
I like Scott Cobb to give me like 6 or 7 to 1 on 4 300s. I might have to fire a paycheck or two into that one and see what happens.
All right, another team that's coming out is Chucky Rucker's team, PBA champ Chuck Rucker.
Chucky's very underrated, but Chucky won a PBA regional as a young man, bowled a tour in 1997, and 2 regionals. And obviously his knowledge and skill of drilling and layouts is a benefit for him because he can make some changes equipment-wise, not only for his game, but for everybody else. In his 20th year here at Lightning Strikes, honored to have a man that stayed that long in this industry and been in this facility, and I figure his shop is going to be key to a lot of bowlers' success in the league.
Also, I'm very excited about Daniel Gacera bowling.
Well, Daniel Gacera's dad has a very successful pro shop, and Nick watching Daniel and getting him lined up with equipment is going to be a benefit for Daniel. I like the idea that there's a Port Charlotte team coming down and some bowlers from Sarasota, some bowlers from Naples, some bowlers from Lehigh, the Cape, of course, Fort Myers, and some of the other surrounding towns. But Daniel's exciting. And Daniel's got ice water in his veins. Daniel's used to bowling telephone numbers. I mean, he had 840s at 15, so 16 years of age. So a high 840, 850, 860 for Daniel is very feasible.
Absolutely. He must have the highest rev rate in the league. What are your thoughts on his rev rate?
Well, between him and Alshire, it's one of them. I
I
would like to monitor their rev rate and really see if we could get a number with a good rev rate system. Maybe video it, see what we get, see what the calculator says. But definitely in the 500s for Daniel, 500s for Alshire. You know, I would say low 5s for both. What do you think? Low 5s?
Daniel Gacera's on my national team, so I got to see him up close and personal for the last few years.
Yeah.
It all comes out of his hand. It's unbelievable.
I know. Effortless power.
The only person I've ever seen that had that type of raw power is Keith DeMaine out of Connecticut.
Keith DeMaine from East Hartford, and we both saw Keith, both being that we're both from Connecticut.
Unbelievable.
I saw Keith 20 years ago when I got off the tour. I bowled a scratch league at the old Bradley Bowl, the 98-99 season, and Keith DeMaine in that league, that ball was devastating.
Buzzsaw, I think.
Buzzsaw.
Another team that I'm excited about is John Rakowski.
Well, Rakowski's a great veteran in his late 40s, but ice water, stoic, very confident, very methodical, obviously a national champion in Las Vegas, winning the TAT twice. I've often said that if anybody brought a USBC Eagle back to Southwest Florida, it could be John or Dave Stolfer or Mike Alshire. Those 3 guys are capable of winning a singles title, a doubles title, or an all events title nationally. And I believe it might happen. I think these bowlers that we're mentioning are geared to win anywhere in this country, and we're excited to have them in this league.
Yeah, John's been probably one of the best for as long as I remember.
Oh yes, he's not afraid of anyone, especially the way the shot's set up right now. We could follow the oil left from an outside angle, which is going to give him some off hits. I mean, I like Alshire from way in compared to Rakowski, but being that they're going to start off around 5, 6, 7, and they might break down to 11 or 12, that still gives him entry angle, and I see a lot of scores from him, most definitely.
And Scott Cobb took my place so I could run this league. So Scott Cobb's bowling with John Rakowski and Jack Keane and Robert Eddy.
Well, Scott Cobb is underrated. No one drills more equipment than Scott Cobb. Scott Cobb could drill 30 to 50 balls in a league season, which is common in this country. It might sound funny to the average viewer, but there are many bowlers at the local level that recycle equipment, buy a new ball, and then sell them to somebody where the grip is close, where all you have to do is change the thumb inner or finger grips, and that's what he does. So he recycles. Sometimes he'll drill 3, 4 balls a week until he sees what he likes. Very interesting, very unique way to approach the game, but that's how he does it. And mentally, he's sharp with new equipment.
That's why they call him Action Scott.
Action Scott.
Always looking for action. So what about Joaquin? You know much about Joaquin?
No, that's a new name for me.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times. He's a good friend of John's. He throws it really well.
And he's from where, Naples?
I think he's Naples, Bonita area.
Naples, Bonita.
Or maybe Fort Myers.
And what's his name again?
Joaquin.
Jacques Keen.
Really good bowler. Skinny guy. I've seen him. He throws it really well.
Okay.
And we got the champ, the owner, Robert Eddy.
Well, Robert Eddy's changed the face of bowling in this facility. Not only he's an entrepreneur as a businessman, but he's a bowler, and Alfie Oakes is involved. And we are honored that a bowler has decided to buy this bowling center and change its image and change the culture of bowling here in Fort Myers. And it's already feeding off into other centers. Robert's a player. Robert's an avid bowler. His son Spencer's an avid bowler.
Great bowler.
And I'm honored to be working for them here. I like the idea that they're bringing this place back, and it's a privilege to watch it.
Absolutely. Robert spent like over $100,000 on a fine line back this season.
I watched it in June between brand new pins and a lane machine, and then $25,000 worth of pin setter parts, and then paying our great mechanics.
We're almost at 75,000. Won't tell the boss, but
Yeah. But that's what we had to do.
yeah, we had to take 10-year-old pin setters and try to bring them up to current standards.
Well, he's smart. You got to get the place running right mechanically, and then build off of that, and that's what we're doing. I think the greatest asset is now the new Kegel Flex machine. We can run 2 oils. You can oil the heads with one oil and the back end with another oil. Infinite amount of patterns, so we can put the kids on that want to come in and practice or bowl a Challenge Series league or whatnot. And again, technology's taken over the sport of bowling. It has for many years. And now we've got the best lane machine in the world here that we got it in June. It took us about a month to learn it.
Good.
And anytime you have a brand new machine, this is a Rolls Royce. And the older technology is where most of us came from. And now all of a sudden we got this new technology, and it's unbelievable what this machine can do. So we're excited.
We're excited. Yep. Robert's so committed that he told me to find another mechanic to help Eddie get the machines back in shape. So he brought Chris down from Sunrise.
Well, we've got 2 guys now that are like Ruth and Garrett. They can get into these machines and make them right, and they do that every day. And now we've got a parts supply where they're rebuilding ball returns and pin setter parts and just changing the image of this facility from the back end to the front end, and of course in our restaurants and our front service counter. Everybody here has got a little pep in their step, and the fact that new ownership has brought this morale into our staff has given us all a lot of pride to be part of this facility's turnaround.
Yeah, I'm excited for Chris and Eddie down back, man. It's a tough business down
So
there.
am I.
Machines run bad.
And those guys are very proud, very honored, and you could see it in the way they're handling things. The whole staff's attitude has changed.
It's getting better.
And it's like, when you get a new owner and a baseball team brings in a new manager, and all of a sudden they get a few free agents, and all of a sudden, instead of being in the last place every year, they got a shot at a wild card, and a few years later, a shot at leading the league. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to change the image, and we will.
Back to ball. In the first week matchup, we have a really good matchup, week 1, out of the gate. Rakowski against Casera.
Well, let's put it this way. 2,400 is a scratch 200 score. 4 bowlers bowling 600. I would say with that in mind that 2,650 is not going to win team total. 250 over for 12 games, which is a 220 average, will not win team total. You're going to need 27 plus to win that night, I think. So I make an early prediction. I can also see, as time goes on, team shooting 2,700 plus and losing total pins for the night if it's the right matchup. So we're looking for that. We're looking for a night where a team averages 225 and doesn't win team total. And this is what we want. We want high scores.
I'm excited for that first matchup. Maybe I'm gonna try to stream it, not stream it, I'm trying to record it all so we do a special game of the week, match of the week.
Oh yes, we're gonna have match of the weeks every week. I can see it coming. And I think there's some underdog teams with good handicap. Keep in mind, 90% at 235. You get a team that has an aggregate, let's say 800 average for 4 men.
Yep.
And they get hot and they shoot 2,600. They add their handicap in. They're looking at around 28, 2850 with handicap. That's a big difference.
Absolutely.
And that could be the big gun team that's a little bit off. All it takes is one bowler to be off. they shoot a low 6 with a guy they're bowling against shot 700, and he's getting 40 pins a game, 30 pins a game handicap. All of a sudden, that's 800.
Absolutely.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
Sure.
And that's why we put the handicap system 90 at 235.
Yes.
So we give everybody a chance.
It's got to have parity. The league won't work if 4 teams dominate and everyone else are, say what we have no chance. And if you build your team around a handicap system, you can win, and it's been known to happen. So that's why that 90% of 235, in my opinion, is a very good number.
It is a Peterson point system too, so everybody's got to be.
Well,
on
every pin counts.
Absolutely.
Peterson points was the savior of bowling in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. When I built a great scratch league 10 years ago here in the Fort Myers area, I convinced the league that Peterson points was the way to go. And the reason is, if you leave a Greek church and you throw the pins in the gutter where you get 5 and 5 out, and at the end of the year your team lost by 4 pins, you're the guy that threw it away because your temperament was lost and you didn't cover the 3 pins you should cover in the Greek church. So every pin counts in the Peterson point format. It makes you understand, do not throw away pins due to temperament or lack of understanding the numerical system is why the league is going to be tough.
Every point counts because last year the 8th place team going to last week of the playoffs got jumped by 2 teams.
Because of Peterson points.
Peterson points, that's right.
I love Peterson points. In the 30s, 40s, and 50s, every major league in the United States, especially in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, Cincinnati, New York metropolitan area, Los Angeles, were all Peterson points, named after Louis Peterson. And that's the Peterson Classic. If you're trying to remember where did I hear Peterson, they named a tournament after this man. It's run for 75 years. He devised a point system that stopped people from throwing away pins due to temperament. And the team captain would say, when you left the split, cover the wood, cover the 2 of the 3 pins on the unmakeable
never
split.
Never know when they'll come in.
You never know.
That's right. Sleeper teams, there's some sleeper teams, but I like this team here. What about the Ron Rickner, Andy Cox, Billy Morgan, and last year's champion of the Riders, Dennis Beagle team?
Well, sleeper, yes, because Billy and Dennis can strike. There's a couple of 750s right there. And if you add Andy in, you say, well, they're not a favorite. Well, they could be a favorite. If 3 of those guys shoot 2,100, they're 300 over right there. So
3 of those guys average over 220.
There you go. So again, that's the interesting part of a 90% of 235. You can have a good team, not a great team, but if those bowlers shoot 2,100, 3 of those bowlers shoot 2,100 and average 233 for the night. The 4th guy could shoot a low 6, but with handicap, all of a sudden they're 500 over with a handicap. They're looking at 2,900.
I think Ron Richter's a sleeper. You got a solid game. Keeps the ball in play.
Yeah.
I think that team.
He can bowl. He's a veteran. He's been around.
Absolutely. And
sure.
Beagle.
Oh yeah, well,
Beagle. Fantastic.
Beagle's got ice water. Very underrated. He's one of the few local bowlers that went out and bowled the U.S. Open several years ago and got a check. Cashing in the U.S. Open means the man can leave town and bowl the best in the world and hold his own. And I congratulate him about that. Anybody that I know, like David, who went to the Masters this year and had a top 10, or Dennis, who cashed in a major, when you leave your home area and you go bowl the national bowlers and you get a check or make a match play, that shows that you're
I think his lifetime average for the USBC is over 200. I bowled them last few
I
years.
didn't have that. I bowled
fantastic.
18 USBCs. I did not average 200, so it isn't as easy as people
I
think.
think he's probably the 1-2 lefty in the area. Ricky, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis is right up there.
Oh yes.
Absolutely. Excited for that.
Dennis could beat Ricky Ward. Dennis on this shot could bowl Ricky Ward and beat him and clean him 3.
Ouch.
I firmly believe that. Not to knock Ricky, but Dennis, there's no fear in Dennis Beagle. Dennis Beagle's going to get out there. He's going to get lined up on this, shoot 780, and go ho hum.
I hear you. After the meeting last week, I saw a player called, his name is Bobby Hamilton, throw a few shots. He throws it really good.
Well, I had Bobby in junior leagues when I was in the pro shop here, along with Evan Baranecki and several other young men that are bowling in the league this year. Bobby Hamilton can flat play, and you put a bowler like that isn't well known on a shot that's very conducive for scoring, and something comes out of them. They know they're an underdog, but they have no fear because they know they're going to hit the pocket. So again, the personalities are going to change a little bit in this league. You're going to see some people that aren't really well known beat somebody that is well known, and they're going to walk in with a puffed up chest a little bit, saying, you know what, I can beat you. and I like that attitude.
Very impressive Bobby Hamilton's game. Was he going with Tyler and Dustin? Do you know those guys?
I know those boys from over in Cape Coral. They're avid bowlers. I had them in junior league as young kids. They kept bowling. Now they're in adult leagues, and they're here to play. I think the fire is going to come out of a lot of these lesser-known teams because they want to bowl the best guys and they want to beat them. And if they do beat them, their personalities change immediately. It's going to be interesting.
Gotcha. We also got Pulaski Junior and Senior. They're bowling different teams, of course. Not the same team, but Mark Jr.'s been starting lately.
Well, Mark Jr. Is a bowler that feeds off of success. If he gets loose, he can strike with anybody in this facility. If he's bowling bad, he gets a little down on himself, he gets a little confused. But that's very, very normal when you get a bowler that knows he can shoot 780 and he's shooting 620. They get a little down on himself. They say, you know what, I should be better than this. But that young boy can strike. He's not afraid of anybody when he is striking. It's going to be interesting. His dad obviously is a great ball driller and does have the ability to strike it up and light it up. But we'll see what happens. Father and son in the league. I like that. I like a father and son in the same league.
Yeah, Mark Jr. shot 45 not too long ago, if I recall. So yeah, Mark Jr. definitely strike a lot.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
My guy, Matt Hodgman. I'm high on Matt Hodgman playing the gutter here.
You like Matt? See, I've never seen Matt Hodgman, so I'm going to learn a little something being that I've been out of the local level for a while. I'm excited because there's a lot of names I don't know about since I left the region 5 years ago, just came back about a year ago. So it's going to be kind of fun watching for me. And I like being the interviewer, so it's going to be interesting to get out there and talk to bowlers about their skill level and their evenings of competition.
Yeah, I'm the same boat as you. I'm a Naples guy, so this is my first season down here in a long, long time.
Yeah, but I'm with you because you're an East Hartford, Connecticut guy, and I'm a Windsor Locks, Connecticut guy. So you got two Connecticut guys in King Robert's Court.
It is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Also, the Chuck Rucker has Mike Durkin bowling with his team. You know Mike Durkin?
I know Mike Durkin. Obviously, Carolyn Trump is his mom, and Carolyn Trump was a very successful woman pro. I like that Mike's coming out of retirement. Keep in mind, a lot of these bowlers that are coming back are going to learn how to strike on this real quick. So, if it was a sports shot, they're going to come in and get a little confused because they might not be acclimated. But you get your feet and your eyes right on this pattern, you're going to hit the pocket.
I know Mike a long time. He has the sharpest bevel holds ever. I wouldn't even call it bevels, call them razors.
Right off the press.
Right.
That's Ricky Ward's MO. Right off the press with the fingers and thumb, no bevels. Try it sometime. It's like having 3 razor blades on your fingertips and at the base of your thumb. The ball's got to fit perfectly. Your timing has got to be perfect to clear it. So very tough to do. 0 bevels.
I walked by his ball once and I ripped my shirt. So sharp.